class is strategic management, and thank you guys for joining me again in this class. So we will be looking at the word strategic management, and I believe I am on to the master student. So strategic management, before we talk about strategic management, let's first look at the word strategy. This what is strategy is very important because I like as much as I can to explain what we break down the word, then we look at what it means before we now go into the topic. Strategy, we know strategy as whatever plan you have to win, whatever plan you have to succeed in whatever adventure or whatever venture you are going to. So it's very important. The word strategy actually is a word that is used by the military, and it is used by them whenever there is need for war. So what do this strategy statement have in common? If you can see, let's look at what is written here. Strategy is tactics, is to achieve a goal. It must be low cost provider, the pursuit of global strategy, integration, integrate a set of regional acquisition, unrivaled customer. What are the strategies? So these are more like strategic statements. Strategic statement like an organization could say, "Oh, one of our strategies is to produce low cost item." Like if you shop on Alibaba, if you shop on Amazon, one of their strategies to wanting to make sure that all their product looks as if it's affordable. So that is a strategy. A strategy could be pursue a global strategy, integrate a set of regional acquisition. That could be a strategy. Unveiling unravel customer services, giving your customer a service that they can never have to see anywhere because once you so every strategy has look at what does this strategy have in common? They have what you call tactics, they have goals, objectives, description. This because I won't look at the word strategy first. It will help us to understand how or what the word strategic management itself means. I'm trying to use this animation slide to really give us a animated explanation of how to view the word strategy. Strategy, use me when you want to demonstrate your business acumen. So if you strategies like I said in my last class, I don't know how many of you was in the last class. Business is like a war because you have competition, you have people that you need to beat, or you need to always innovate, you need to always so strategy is one of the two that is used when you want to demonstrate business acumen. Also, so you can see for too many of you that know this cartoon, Boss Man, is someone that always love is to strategize because that is the role they play in its movie. So, but we are going to be interpreting this as to how it relates to business and management. So, strategy is is what the tool that is used to achieve success. Look at what we have here is actually um, Roman soldier and Greek soldiers. The word strategy is from Greek, which was strategos, means the art of the generals. So this is actually what is incorporated by generals in war. People like Alexander the Great, who conquered almost the whole world. They use strategy. Strategy in business came from Greek, the word strategos, and it's the art of the general. So if you look, even during the Biafra War, when Ojukwu and Obasanjo was general on one side and Ojukwu was general on the other side, and Obasanjo said, I don't know, maybe you guys can say, "Oh, it's so nice to have my students face me in war." So what kind of strategy are they going to employ? So they want to. It was so fun for them. So strategy also in business is very key. Strategy in planning and management is very key because these are part of the things that we need to look at. So the act of war, the act of war. When you are in war, what strategy do you put in place? How do you make sure that you are always ahead of whosoever is waging the war against you? So if For example, you look at Peak Milk, you look like Three Crown Milk, you look at so many other businesses that are into complementary or same services. They always compete. They always want to be at edge of the other. Something happened recently. Many of you know that Peak Milk now owns Three Crown Milk. And the reason why Picnic owns Three Crown Milk because Three Crown is because Three Crown was actually one of their major competitors. And to them, strategy is to buy over smaller competitor. Yeah, Facebook bought over Instagram and WhatsApp. It's a strategy to remain relevant in the market. So we can buy little other competitive business, smaller, and make them into what we do. So strategy. We want to look comprehensively into strategy. It will help us to really expand our scope. Um, so it will help us to understand how to move and how to do what we are supposed to do in business. So we are still on the word strategy. We are still looking at what strategy is. For so many of you that know about Agrippa, these are philosophers. These are people who are known as best strategists rather. And let me allow this slide goes and we can quickly look at other other things that can give us a quick understanding on the word strategy. It's very, very important. We look at the word strategy. We should be able to we should be able to, as a matter of fact, um, explain it as it's um it's it's as it relates to strategic management. So we will be quickly looking at strategic management now. Having explained to us what strategy by using that animation to explain strategic management. In your material, you could have a definition that is not same as this, but if you look at them deeply, they all gonna mean almost the same. Strategic management is all about identification and description of the strategies that managers can carry so as to achieve better performance and a competitive advantage of the organization. This definition should be very simple. You should understand it better now, having understand the meaning of strategy. That's it. So managing the strategy that you have identified that you want to implement, ensuring that it helps to give the company better performance and competitive advantage is what we know as strategic management. So it's one of the definition that we will be looking at for strategic management. Let's also look at this definition. Strategic management can also be defined as a bundle of decisions and acts which a manager undertake and which decide the results of the firm performance. The manager must have a thorough knowledge and analysis of the general and competitive organizational environment so as to take right decision. You see, strategic management is very important. So, as a matter of fact, some companies have staff who are strategic. They might not be called strategic managers, but their position is highly strategic. Their role is to ensure that they study the work environment, they ensure that the staff understand the goal, the objectives, the policies of the organization. All the staffs ensure that they understand how their individual tasks sum up to help the organization to achieve its corporate goal. That is their work to ensure that there's something called organizational culture to ensure all staff abreast and understand and whatever they do is in line to portray the organizational culture, which in line would help to achieve best results for the organization. So these are people who see intrinsically and who ensure enforcement of decisions and implement them to the latter to ensure these are implemented. And if there is need for correction, there is review and there is implementation. So strategic management is very broad and is one that should be critically looked into. So we are going to be looking at other definition again of strategic management. This is the third definition. The strategic management process means defining the organization. Okay, we have this is strategic management process means defining the organization strategy. It is also defined as a process by which managers make a choice of a set of strategies for the organization that would enable it to achieve better performance. For success to happen, even in your individual life, you must have a strategy. For example, now there's lockdown. Many of you are home. Many of you who work, you are home, you are not working. What are your strategy to ensure that you continuously earn? Success don't happen by itself. There must be strategy. Companies who have been shut down because of the lockdown are now adopting newer technology. For example, JPT is coming up with the online training now. Is a strategy to ensure students continuously learn. Student duration to learn is not unnecessarily elongated. So for you, what is your strategy for success? So a strategic management process means defining the organizational strategy. It is also defined as a process by which managers now make a choice of a set of strategy for the organization that will enable it to achieve its performance. We need to understand this, that success don't happen all by itself. There must be deliberate effort towards achievement of success. So let's look at strategy management process contains four elements. One is environmental scanning. Environmental scanning is very important. Two is strategy formulation. Three, strategy was implementation, and last is strategy evaluation. You can see environmental scanning here because for you to formulate your strategy, you have to look at the environment the work is positioned, the factors that are limiting the potentials of the business, factors that negate the growth of the company. So that would enable you to formulate strategy that would be targeted at solving a problem. Every strategy must be targeted at solving. For example, you may look at customer management strategy, you may look at quality management strategy, you may look like training of staff. They are all targeted at ensuring that there is a deliberate growth in the company. For example, you may just maybe all staffs that resume the company are always in a sad mood. Then you can say, oh, what do we do to ensure that staff are motivated, then motivation can help them produce better, then the production would increase, and when production is increased, profit would increase. So you start by ensuring that staff are motivated. Strategy. That can only be done by environmental scanning. When the word environmental scanning means what? A study of things that are needed to be improved upon. So that would help you to properly formulate strategy that would target to solving and improving the condition of work. So after that has been done, then this strategy that have been well formulated by managers, strategies can be communicated, can be ensured that these are properly no, before we talk about management information system, how do you get the information in? Environmental scanning. You get accurate information to know what is wrong. How do we fix it? Yeah, every company must have a strategy to growth. I spoke the other day, I said that a company called Amazon, this Amazon, strategic management in Amazon, one of their major strategy is to make sure that product that when you go to Amazon to book for a product, what they do is this. There is an algorithm that what's it called, a computer, an AI algorithm that identify product that customers search for majorly. So once the algorithm has been able to identify that product, for example, if it's a laptop, maybe in a day they have, let's say, 1,000 visitors on the website. This is just an example, but they have far more than that on daily basis. So And they understand that out of the 1,000 customers or clients that comes to their site, 500 of them, 50% are checking on laptop. What they do is this: the algorithm automatically drops the price of the laptop by a little in order to make sure that, because when people are visiting to buy more laptop, and if a laptop costs, let's say, $100, they can drop the laptop to $97, just $3 difference. Because they have dropped the price of the main products that people visit the most, it automatically gives customer an insight that products on Amazon is naturally cheap. But you know what Amazon will do? Once the price of the laptop is dropped by $3, because once you buy a laptop, you might need to buy, let's say, even if it's coming with a cord or whatever accessory, some of the accessories that you might need to buy along with the laptop separately, they might increase the price by $1 and 1.5 in a way that they would not run at loss eventually. But they've been able to use that strategy to make customers feel that what the prices on Amazon are what naturally cheap. So what that is a strategy by Amazon. So, but that has only been done by what environmental scanning, strategy formulation, strategy implementation. Here means how strategy is being implemented, how information is being given and passed across from staff through the organizational organogram, and how this is implemented. Strategy evaluation, because once you implement, you have to constantly review and evaluate. Because sometimes you might need to implement a strategy to know its effectiveness. Sometimes, even after strategy formulation, you might not know how best how best it will result until it is implemented. So sometimes it is important that implementation is studied, is implemented, then after implementation, you reevaluate to you reevaluate the reaction, the results, so that after your review, it can be implemented. That is why if you look at it, you can see the arrow goes back to what implementation. You can from implementation, you can even go back to what formulation again. Yes, you can. If it is not well formulated, the implementation will be wrong, and you can. So there is a feedback underneath here, which you can see. So if I ask you a simple question to draw me this strategic management process for basic and explain, so you should be able to explain it in your own words. So my first assignment will be draw the strategic management process chart, which contains 4 basic elements, and explain in your own words. Please do not download, do not search on Google. Just write based on your words what you understand by environmental scanning, environmental formulation, environmental scanning, strategic formulation, strategic implementation, and strategic evaluation. So my number one question here is draw the strategic management process chart, which contains 4 basic elements, and explain each of them extensively. So we can have that, we can use that. So look at these are let me now go and look after I've explained this, but I'll just go through. Environmental scanning refers to the process of selecting, scrutinizing, and providing information for strategic purpose. It helps in analyzing the internal and external factor influencing and organization. After executing the environmental analysis process, management should evaluate it on a continuous basis and strive toward to improve it. So let's look at management strategic formulation. Strategic formulation is the process of deciding best course of action for accomplishing organizational objectives and hence achieving organizational purpose. After conducting environmental scanning, managers formulate corporate, business, and functional level strategy. Managers formulate it, and let's look at in the implementation now. Strategic implementation. Strategic implementation implies making the strategy work as intended, or putting the organization's chosen strategy into action. Strategy implementation includes designing the organization structure, distributing resources, developing decision-making process, and managing human resources. You can see it includes what? Designing organizational structure, distributing resources, developing decision-making process, and managing resources. These are what implementation contains here. So it's very so I've been able to give you guys my first assignment, and this is a repeated is a class that was supposed to held this morning, but because of the fact that I was not available, so we had to reschedule. So many of your friends are not online. Please, I would advise that we also inform them so they can come they can whenever you can give them the assignment so they can submit to my email. I believe by now you should all have my email, yahoo.com. So let's continue. Strategy evaluation is the final step of strategic management process. The key strategy evaluation activities are: one, appraising internal and external factors that are roots of present strategies. Two, measuring performance. Three, taking corrective action. Remember, during my explanation, I have detailedly explained this. Today's class is Introduction to Strategic Management. Next time we are going to be meeting, we're going deeper into other sections. Now, I'm going to be using your material, your class material, to go deeper into other sections of this class. Evaluating makes sure that the organization strategy as well as its implementation meets the organization objectives. I spoke about organizational objective. If you are carefully listening, and by now you should know what organizational objective means. I spoke about that. I also talked about organizational what culture. So the assignment here is simple. The assignment here is for you to do that which I have asked you guys to do, and I believe that as you do that, you submit it to my email address. Submit it to my email address so that we can quickly move to other section. So quickly, I will be looking at I will be looking at the last part of this class, which before we call it a day today, I'll be looking at the last part of this class. So I'll be looking at this other part. So that's okay. Let us end here today, please, and let us submit our assignment. This is a very short class. Let's submit just one assignment to my email. Let's go through it. Next time we are going to be meeting, we'll be talking extensively more on strategic management, as we'll be looking at your class, your also chapter to chapter. But today's class is a general overview on what strategy means and what strategic management means. Thank you for joining today's class. God bless you and stay safe. Bye.